I couldn't do that. So I put my own shingles out. I couldn't. And remember, I'm going to tell you really quickly, in Indiana, where I had already given volunteer time to the courthouse thinking I'm going to walk right into a job.
Power to the people if you understand, sing for me. Yeah. Power to the people if you understand, sing for me. Say you feel me. Power to the people if you understand, sing for me.
Hello, welcome to another episode of the People's Podcast. I'm your host, Ismail Shahid. Hope all is well. I'd like to welcome to the show Fauzia Deen. Fazia is a purpose-driven leader with 20 years of cross-sector experience in law, wellness administration, government relations, and culturally responsive community engagement. Her proven ability to build strategic partners, launch public-facing programs, and lead mission-based initiatives to uplift diverse communities. Former wellness director, deputy director of outreach government relations, known for advancing interfaith, understanding, and strengthening community. I like to, and much many more. I mean, hopefully we'll get into all of that, during this interview. But Fazia, welcome to the show. I'm glad to have you. Alhamdulillah, sister. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you, my brother. Be here with you.
Yes. So I know that was a brief, with your broad structure and body of work and the things that you've done. We did a brief introduction. But if you want to fill us in on maybe something that you want to share, so that people could get a better understanding of who we're talking to and conversation progresses, we can go back. So if something you want to share, you can start out, open up, and then we'll get to the question part of the interview.
Some things, and I want to thank you. I'm so honored with you and the work of you and your wife, and thank you again for I had to go to law school, which is a great feat in itself. But I wanted people to know that you can never put education away, because you never know when you'll be ready for it again. So even if you complete it when you're younger, I was able to do it in my 40s.
Okay.
And I came out on Dean's List. But I have to be grateful for my mom, who sent me beautiful people to help me take care of my babies. And I wouldn't do it, as it takes a village, and it took a village.
Yes,
so I wanted to reiterate the fact that education and academic comes with balancing your life. And so I had to do that to go to law school. Also, I wanted to add that I am now a grandma of 3 babies.
Oh, mashallah.
6, 5, and 18 months.
That's beautiful.
And seeing them this giving. So I wanted to add the personal note that Allah rewards those who work hard. We might not see that light sometimes, but stay steady. Eventually that light comes back again. And we're not the only ones that were tested. The Prophet ﷺ, he was tested many times. And then if you go back to Surah Doha, it's a very beautiful reminder that Allah.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Alhamdulillah.
All those accolades you just mentioned, there's more, but we'll stop there. I just came back from a police civilian review panel, which is something, I don't know if it's on there, but was serving the county for the last 3 years on the police civilian review panel. I'm the only female Muslim on the team. And a huge thing to carry on your shoulders when you're representing a huge community.
Yes.
To be police oversight in Fairfax County. It's one of the largest counties and one of the more powerful and wealthy counties in Virginia. To Allah for putting me here, and He knows what He's doing when He puts us. And sometimes we think, what am I doing here? But Allah is believers, and we have to believe in ourselves and know that we're in leadership positions is because Allah wants us to be there. Allah, not us.
Well, that's very well put, and something for, as we like to highlight people that are doing very good things in the community. As we met before, when me and my wife did come to Virginia, we sat down and spoke about the plethora of things that you were doing and involved in, especially the review panel with the police. That's excellent. Being involved in your community, as we see now, what's going on across the nation where Muslims are much more involved. Recently, Mangdani in New York City as the mayor. So, I mean, Muslims are much more involved, but, your contributions are welcome. But
Yeah,
No,
that's
go ahead.
I love that you mentioned Mandami because a lot of Muslims are smiling because a lot of our duas are please God,
Mhm.
we were once raised and you are the one that can raise us,
Yes.
unite us. And
Mhm.
I usually in my duas I say Ya Wadud, Ya Jami, the one together and the one who connects our hearts. Put us in Ya Adil, give us justice and fairness and leadership around us. It came Mandami and I'm like, Alhamdulillah.
Well, we'll see. Hopefully,
May Allah guide.
hopefully, may Allah guide him. May Allah guide him, because we do know that he's in a system that has been unjust for some time. So, but Allah guide him and make him successful, inshallah. But what I would like to get into, my first question for you, and I want to start at the law part, because I want to know what got you into the mindset of saying, I'm, law school, taking that route. Because I know for me, I know what got me into the trades that I'm in. But what got you to that point of saying, but even before you get to everything that you're doing, what got you to the point to say, let me go to law school?
Bismillah. This question again goes back to being driven and
Mm-hmm.
all of your duas. So we were already running an urgent care clinic. We're a military family very quickly, and we were running an urgent care clinic, the only family-owned clinic left in Indiana. This is when I was in the Midwest.
Mm-hmm.
And we were offering, you walk into an urgent care clinic, and to get medical care, the first thing they'll ask you is what? Let me see your insurance card.
Yes. Yes. Mm-hmm.
So then very quickly after getting ownership of this, it was after 9/11, by the way, just before 9/11, we signed the deal, we took it over, and then we are living in a part of Indiana, well, Indiana, in the middle of Indiana where it's an all-white community. After 9/11, I just want to briefly state, I am going to get to law school, that you see inequity right away where we lost 15% of our clientele. After 9/11, we are the only brown ownership in all of Fort Wayne, Indiana, probably owning an urgent care clinic and giving out health care. The diehards stayed, the good people stayed, and 15% we lost. And we had to work harder to make up that amount because we were new owners. And very quickly, the inequity starts to show up. I remember just dealing with school inequities with my brown children in school at the time in all white schools, but I won't divert our conversation to law school. There was a lot going on. So all of it kind of merged into my brain and my heart. So running the urgent care clinic, when you ask a person, when they come to the front desk, and you come for health care and you ask for their insurance card, that insurance card, and it's still today, dictates what kind of treatment you're going to get.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And I remember being new at this, and I know I was married to a doctor and he understood the billing aspect of it. But we would sit down and discuss at the end of the day how many people we saw, how many people we couldn't give good care to or give all of the care to so they can heal properly because they didn't have coverage. 90% is the Black and brown community that didn't have good coverage. So we decided to give, we are Muslims, so we decided to open our door to charity. I mean, we're not going to make money on this, but we knew that very quickly if somebody's sick, the only way to healing is to give them A, B, and C treatment. And if their insurance coverage is only going to cover A, sometimes you have to B and C. And I'm hundreds of dollars. So, God is great. We did a lot of that, but that was the first seedling to the equity in healthcare. I had this, I don't know what you want to call it, this innocent, naive idea that grew in my brain and my heart that, you know what? How can I stop this injustice? Why is it, some people get 100% care, some people get 80%, some people get 20, and then we have to eat the cost of the 80% if we want to give them good care. We did give them good care, as many as we could. We did do it. And I think we stayed afloat because my ex at the time, he was working ER. So that was a bills and cut, right? So you have
Yes.
So we continued giving charity. And, after my third child got to kindergarten, plant was growing. And one of our clients, our patients, came in and she was filling out a form as she was waiting to be seen. And I was talking to her and I said, what's that? And she goes, it's a LSAT. And I swear to God, Allah sends messages to you. You just have to be open to it. I said,
Yes.
that for law school? She said, yeah. And I go, I can take that. Let me try. And I took it. Long story short is I took it several times, but the first time I took it was without any prep. Sometimes we overthink things.
Yeah.
The first time I took it was my highest score and I didn't record it. It was my high. I just did it plain old cold turkey. Took it was my high score. I could never get back again. I took all the classes. I took three classes to get that score again. Never got it. So sometimes believe in yourself and believe in tawakkul Allah. And when I that inkling to take that LSAT score or take that LSAT test without preparing for it, because my will to do it was so strong that I did it, and it's a logical test. And countering myself and taking all that taught you, oh, if you want to, pass the LSAT, you have to learn how to do this, A, B, C, D. And so then doubting my ability, right? So
Yeah.
I did get into law school and I applied because I was a mother. I applied to a school and hear me out here. I'll make this short.
No, you good.
In America that were accepting non-traditional students, and it's the only school in America that had the first weekend law school program, and it was in Michigan, and I'm in Indiana, so it would mean a 3-hour. I did get into other law schools, Valparaiso, but they were all full-time. I got into Notre Dame. I had an interview with them, but again, I would have to leave my babies and move there.
Yeah.
And school offering in Michigan that I could keep my business, keep my work, keep my babies all in one place and just go out on the weekend, do my law school and come back home. This was called Cooley Law School. It's now Western Michigan Law School. But it was just a law school. Now it's a big university. Grew. I want you to tell you and share with you that this law school also was sued by Harvard because they were trying to shut them down, because they were trying to stick to tradition. Sometimes creative minds need to believe. And there was a group of people that believed that non-traditional students can go to law school too.
Yeah.
But that lawsuit against Harvard and won because they were able to show that our graduates were taking the same, bar exams across America, just like Harvard, and they were passing. So hence, I graduated from law school. It was not easy. You have to be married. It's like being married to law school. It was not. Again, imagine you're traveling and you're trying to do homework. But that's what drove me to law school was I was going to solve the world problem by giving everybody free healthcare or in healthcare, right? Find a way. Well, I found out very soon that the law doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
But I did end up serving. I opened my shingles to the poor in the community, and that's been my work ever since to help.
That's right. Did you have a plan after law school? Like, what was your thought process of going through law school? You mentioned, there's a couple of things you mentioned in what you said, that you had a little bit of doubt that was there. Then you said something else that really stuck just now, like creative minds need to believe. And that, all of that meshed into one while you going to law school, after law school, or when you got into what was it like? I mean, law school's, one of my daughters is in law school right now. So she's aspiring to be, and hopefully she'll be a very good lawyer. And she has the same type of, driven mind where she's going to create, justice. And, I guess I don't know. Is that a thing that, young lawyers go through and they want to change the system or fight injustices in the system?
I don't know how old your daughter is, but I was, about my late 30s.
She's in her mid-20s, her early 20s. So
I am so proud of young people that know what they want to do. The earlier you better. I can tell you about my daughter as well, but let's talk about this law school business. I want to tell you that the inclination to solve the world problems and solve injustice is the seed. It's the gets you to go. But when you're there, you have to renew your intentions. And that's what you have young people. is to renew your intention. Why am I here? Because here's what happens very quickly. You start, gaining all this academic. You're reading case after cases. You're doing research and writing. You are doing mock trials. And pretty soon you're either going to know. We started with about close to 400 people in my entering class. My Iredell class was almost 400. I think the graduating class was almost less than 200. So people will weed you out. In the first year or two, you will be weeded out because we all have nation, but there's only so many of us that can stand it. We had retired police in there. We had young people. Remember, this is non-traditional school, so we had a lot of people in there, a lot of people who had jobs, a lot of teachers in there, nurses, police. And in the end of it, not all of us made it through. And I through a dark period in my first semester where I was just not believing I was there or something, because I actually got called into the dean's office. In law school, do you want to stay? Because if you continue with these grades, you're not going to be able to get out of here. That really woke me up. So sometimes you get a hit, and that's to help you up. But renewing your intention, going back to your question about doubt, creative minds, and believing, goes to your, why are you going to law school? The
Yes.
to go to law school will come from the first thing. I want to, solve injustice. I want to be part of the adel, part of the solution, not part of the problem. I'm going to create equity in whatever you have in your mind. But once you're in there, you start to see the reality, and you don't really know the reality until you come out and you actually get an internship. That's when you start seeing reality, because the academic, you can graduate. You can graduate magna cum laude. You can graduate accolades, but you don't know law until you pull your sleeves up and fight for people who are unjustly incarcerated. That's the true trial for criminal law. But you'll soon find out not everybody's made for criminal law. We also lost students in the third year where we had to deliver our first summary judgment in front of real judges, and then you'll know the weak ones. Or you can know you're an academic lawyer, you're just going to do research, or you're going to be a contract lawyer. That's where the third year, and if you have a fourth year, like we had, because we were part-time, I had a fourth year, you start to find out in that fourth year what kind of law you really want to do. So I started to invest time and take classes with immigration. Do immigration. I started heading down that path, taking classes for immigration. And pretty soon I ended up retiring all these years later in immigration world. So you never know where you're going to end up. But if you are there, so I'm going to end it with this. If you're there to make money, it's going to be corporate law, and secure transactions, and all the business that's going to go with it, and understand the academics, the strategic analysis, so that your grades will speak to the firms that you apply to. So if you want to make money, it's patent law, corporate law, and working for the big firms, right? You want to help people. And when I say help people, I always think about the Titanic sinking, the rescue, what do you call those lifeboats that come
The
down?
lifeboats,
40 people in them, but none of them were filled on that night. But in law, your boat, say you're like that lifeboat, you're helping people who can't afford legal advice or legal advocacy, and you're flying. Your boat could only hold 40, but 200 people will be hanging on to the boat sides. Exaggerating, it happened to me. When people find out you are giving free service, or you are a pro bono attorney, or you're working nonprofit, your boat will be full. The thing to remember is self-care. You cannot help them if you fill the boat, and you'll drown too. I'll write a book one day, because I did, and it was the people who saw me working in the community that came and rescued me. People were sitting on the floor, and I trained enough people fast enough to help me. The paralegals that I could afford were coming in and not having any real practical experience. I was spending a lot of time training them, and then I had people out the door. It was crazy. I'm just going to say, why are you there?
Yeah. Intentions, like you said, intentions matter. You got to reevaluate what you're doing. You have
Evaluate
to.
semester, go talk to God, reevaluate. Why am I here? Am I here to make?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a way to balance it out too, because if you work for a firm, but remember, I'm at that age coming out of law school where I already was running my own business. Typical law student, where I'm going to go look for a firm. My study group was all married and had children, except for one person. She was a journalist and she ended up adopting. But the point is this: I wasn't going to go work for a firm and be a slave to a firm so I can earn $200,000
Yeah.
starting.
Mm.
I'm not going to do that because I had 3 kids. And if you go to a firm, remember, you're going to make that money, but you owe the firm. You're theirs. I couldn't do that. So I put my own shingles out. I couldn't. And remember, I'm going to tell you really quickly, in Indiana, where I was, I had already given volunteer time to the courthouse thinking I'm going to walk right into a job. I think briefly on this.
Yeah.
I worked at courthouse. I was a Chin's attorney, did GAL work. If you don't know what that is, it's guardian ad litem for abused children. Those are
Wow.
cases. You don't hear about that. And you don't have to go to Epstein files. It's right here in your neighborhood.
Right there. Yep.
So I just want you to know those are some hard cases I did. And at the end of it, after 4 years of law school, that white Indiana courthouse said, we don't have a job for you.
With all that work you did.
For free. And one judge who was imagine he's a judge now. I will say his name is Bobe. He's the one that opened the door and he said, look, I have an internship and I know his interns from before. They were all paid. But he said this year, the year I'm applying, they took away the paid internship. It's just a volunteer internship. You know, took it because he opened that door for me. It gave me an internship into family law. I had my background a little bit academically in immigration and I opened because nobody would hire me. It was like, I did talk to an advocate once, a political advocate in Fort Hood, Indiana, and they said, you know, Fazia, the problem is this. When they see you, they see Democrat walking. And that's a very town.
Yeah.
To not hire me is to say, wow, Democrat walking. But then the prosecutor's office, I thought, would be very liberal. So I went to the prosecutor's office and she goes, Fazia, we're not hiring right now. She knew she was wrong. She did something very to tell me she's not hiring because I know that they're hiring. And what she did was she turned around and hired a Black woman so that I couldn't sue them. I'm telling you, politics will eat you up alive. You have to renew your intentions and know why you're there. If you're in it for the money, like I said, corporate law is it's going to be your line of duty.
That's going to be where your money at.
Law. And if you do anything else, like in immigration and want to make money, it has to be foreign investment. I was doing family, asylum, getting your husband and wife over here. You're a refugee and they're denying you your right to citizenship 3 years later. These cases right, left, and center. I'm taking the hard stuff on family law. But if you want the big money, then go after the investment people, the people who want to come to America and invest $500,000. That's where you're going to make money in this. But that was
and that wasn't your road. That wasn't your path. That's not what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had for you.
Never thought of it. And you know, earlier today before I came on to you, I said, what am I going to say to this brother? Like, I feel, but I've done so much. But I unfinished because remember that boat I talked about, that lifeboat?
Yes.
In the water. There's still so many people in the water waiting for their lifeboat. And I'm going to die. And there's still going to be people, right? Because look around the world what's happening right now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you can.
So that's what we have to find balance, my brother. I go back to my balance in the Quran. We talked about this on one of our earlier talks. Forgive me if I said that wrong, but you know that's where my balance is, because Allah is guaranteeing a certain kind of people that you will be successful. So when I doubt myself, because we talked about doubt, I have to go back and reevaluate and renew my intentions with Allah. Because Allah, if I believe and if I do righteous good deeds, and if I remind each other and advise each other of the truth,
That's right.
each other that we will be successful, where's in that. Where's the room for doubt, bro? Allah.
SubhanAllah.
Yeah.
Well, moving forward with after everything that you're doing, what are you engaged in now? Like, let's go fast forward. You've been through all of that. You've been through the things that the law school, the court, working for the courthouse, all of this, and now you're in a. Let's fast forward to now, to the current, and the things that you're doing now. With the police review board that you just came from. Let's get into that and explain to the listeners that what got you engaged in this now, and what's it like moving forward.
So to just preface Police Civilian Review Panel, I was appointed because of my in government relations work. I gave up my attorney work for community, so I kept digging my heels into the work. And after about 15-20 years of working in law, and going through a really long divorce process, I decided to stop, renew my intention in a mosque, one of the largest mosques here in Virginia. It is first large mosque here, as their deputy outreach director, and what we call government relations outreach community work. I even did a program called Justice for Juniors, and we had talked about that before, where you do the detention centers and we mentor youth in the So coming to Police Civilian Review Panel, somebody, or let's just say an entity or God guiding someone, put my name in the pool. So after George Floyd's murder and the Black Lives Movement came upon America, the awakening of police oversight.
Yes, I remember.
I don't have my list in front of me. Not all states yet, but many, many states have a civilian review panel. They call it different things, but basically police oversight. And because we watched, and they've been killing Black and brown community for a long time. I'm not going to love them.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of murders, but the one that caught the eye of the people that made a difference was
George Floyd. Yeah.
Remember? You remember why though? Because I watched it in slow motion.
Yes.
Right? I can shoot. Police Civilian Review Panel is training. I even had to go and hold a gun, a rifle, a short gun. I forget what you call it. But oh my gosh, a Glock, whatever it is. For the first time in my life, I'm holding a gun. This is all part of the Police Civilian Review Panel. How did I get there? It's the work in outreach. The work in outreach caught the eye of the board of supervisors in our county. And who is this woman in hijab everywhere, in all the churches, all the mosques, all the synagogues? I am everywhere. Baha'i temple, you name it, I'm there. I might just plug in my phone just in case, because it's doing low battery. So I just want to keep talking to you that the preface for Police Civilian Review Panel was the work in the community. And then that is the reason that I was able to be appointed. So you have to be appointed or referred from someone else on the board to be part of the Police Civilian Review Panel. It's Oversight in Fairfax. That's where I'm at. And I was gladly accepted it and went to work ever since. And that was 3 years ago. Now it's term-based, and you have to review cases, and right away you go into a training mode. You have to learn the bylaws of the system. You have to learn the different standards of abuse, because now you're looking for abusive practices in policing, right? And then, so the process is this. Basically, the community first has to be alerted to this. And it's a new system. So I will tell you, our community, 90% don't even know it exists. And I'm saying that because it's the people who work in the government and they understand the systems and they work in corporate. They're aware of these things because they will get alerts. People on the ground who really need this service are not usually aware of it. So, this is where Allah has put me these days. And I had a brief interlude with Islamic Relief where I did lobbying for a little bit on the Hill. And then continued my work with the Police Civilian Review Panel. So if you have an interaction with the police, so the steps are this, and people need to know this. You have an interaction with the police, whether it's call a domestic violence call or a home domestic problem, or a traffic stop. And many of our brothers understand traffic stops. And it didn't go right. It just did not go your way. Something you said, the way you look, whatever you did, that police was not satisfied. So he dug his heels in and made you get out of the car, or he said something to you, or you were arrested and you feel that that was an unjust arrest. You will go through the steps. They will either, ask you a series of questions. If it's a DUI, whatever it is, do you have something in the car? You're driving too fast, taillight out, you're uninsured, whatever. The excuse they pull you over for, if they're not satisfied with your answer, you end up in the back of a police car in handcuffs, and you feel that that was unjust, and you feel that they did not have a right to arrest you, and you complied, and you truly believe that, heart of hearts, you did everything and it didn't go your way, and you felt like, I wasn't treated right, my dignity was taken away from me, and I tried to comply. I wasn't rude. I don't know why the police did that to me. And it doesn't even have to go down that way. You can ask questions. You can refuse certain things in your own right, but it didn't go your way anyway. Okay, you have choices. You can let it go and say, I got out of this. I didn't have to pay a lawyer. I went to jail for a night. I'm good. Or
just pay some fine and
pay
I'm gonna just walk
if it's
away.
a traffic ticket, it's
I'm gonna pay the fine and
$200
walk
and
away.
I'm good. I had to pay
I don't-
$600 for my insurance and I'm good. But if it stays with you and you can't sleep, you can go to the first action is do a report at the police station of where you were in the first place, pulled over or arrested, whatever the situation was. And then you would file a complaint. It's called a complaint form. It should be in every county's website as well. So you would file a police complaint form. And then, so that's the beginning of the beginning.
That
and
complaint
then
form
go through
goes.
a process. I'm sorry?
That complaint form goes to your.
No, I'm the
Okay.
end. I'm the end. I'm step last.
Oh wow. Okay.
So step one is the police civilian, the police review. So this is where for years and decades and hundreds of years, the police review the police. Police oversight police. That's the first step. They're going to review themselves. That complaint form goes to the police chief. The police chief will look at it, call in the officer if he feels like it, investigate a little bit. And if it's something on the body cam that shows that he needs to do some homework, it might go to internal investigations.
Okay. Yeah.
And then he writes a report. And that report might likely come back in favor of the police.
More than likely.
More than likely.
Especially if there's an infraction, like a broken tail light, insurance.
It's just the way. It's just the way. And I'm not taking a side here, okay?
Yeah, I understand.
I'm telling you what the process is. It's likely going to come back in favor of that police. You have to be sure of yourself. You have to be strong enough to say, I'm not happy with this report. I want it to go to civilian review panel. And that's after it goes through all of the steps for the policing part. They do their internal investigations. Then they write their report. And then even they did all that. And you might still be in court. We've got cases where people are in the middle of a court session and they still went ahead and filed for a police civilian review panel review because they were not satisfied with what the police were saying and they had to hire a lawyer and they're mad as heck that they had to pay for a lawyer on top of this. They probably used their lawyer and was satisfied. They probably got a good outcome. So now they're digging in their heels and they're like, please take this to police civilian review panel.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is where I'm going to give you some leverage. And I'm still giving you information that's public information.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you get your case before us, which is the police, it's a 9-panel member team, and it goes through the liaison, and then it goes to IAB, which is internal investigations, and then they give us their report. Our liaison goes through it. Our police civilian liaison goes through it. And then he sends it to us. We, out of that 9-panel, will create a subcommittee who will accept the review of this case. Then we review that case. And it might take setting up time with the police to go through the body cams. It might be 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. I've done all of it.
And then once you go through all the body cameras, all the audios, then you go through all the interviews, audio, written, final reports, conclusive evidence, whatever it is, and then the final report. And then you need to do a presentation. That subcommittee will have a chair. And then we go to the 9-panel member on our monthly meeting and we say, here's the case. We want everybody to review it. Or here's the case and we don't think you should review it. We agree with the police report. All right. Here's your leverage. This is your $500 piece of free advice. When the complainant shows up and it's a public hearing, we're not there to take only if you have something new to say that you can give us fresh evidence, but we're not there for new evidence. We are there to just listen to your side. You have 15 minutes to present. If you don't show up, you lose leverage. Here's the problem. We are at the government center. Not every person that files a complaint lives close to the government center. And those meetings are at 7 o'clock at night. What's it like at 6 o'clock at night right now? Pretty dark.
It's real dark right now. Now, if you don't live close or you don't have transportation.
I had a woman that was beaten up by a white man and he had her arrested. So we had a case. And she took a bus from Reston all the way to Fairfax Government Center, which is like, God knows, hour and a half, 2 hours at night.
This goes back to what you were saying. You got to be sure of yourself. You have to be extremely sure of yourself. So she had a very compelling argument, and she was very sure of herself. So the people that are not going to show up are the people that's just playing around. They trying to get over the fact that they had an infraction themselves. They shouldn't have been drive without a license. They know they didn't pay the insurance bill. They know they didn't do things correctly, and they just trying to get they're trying to see if they can wiggle through. Because sometimes I've pled guilty, not guilty for speeding tickets, and if the police don't show up, you get off. I mean, it's a roll of the dice over here. So,
yeah.
If you have those people that are rolling the dice, but the people that are serious, they're going to show up.
The people that are serious, and also people I've seen, and this is not, I'm not biased anyway, because we're not allowed to be biased.
No, not at all.
I've seen people can afford that opportunity to drive and get there, will do it. I've seen some drunk cases where they were completely wrong, but they still fought.
Showed up.
They still showed up because it was saving grace, saving face.
Maybe that.
But they knew if you saw the body camera, if you saw how these people acted, and you know they were over the blood alcohol level that's legal, and they still showed up. Sometimes I think it could be that, yes, some of what you said, but also saving face. Maybe somebody in their family saying, I don't know, you should do this. And they have support in the family for doing it. And so sometimes they might show up with a family member. I've even had, like in the case of the Black woman who was beat up by a white man and then she ended up getting arrested, where the NAACP got involved and they showed up. So when you have support and you show up, you'll get the full panel review. It's not 100% that we're gonna say send it back. Hey, you guys really messed up here. What happens is we'll say, here are the gaps. Here are the gaps. I think you didn't look at this, or you didn't look at this aspect. Or if that person showed up and gave evidence, you might say, did you guys really peel that onion over here? And why was she taken to the magistrate? Why didn't she have the information for the magistrate, but the man who beat her up had the information for the magistrate? Yeah. How did you miss the boat on that? So he was able to get to the magistrate before her, file a claim on her, and they arrested her, even though she called the police on him.
I think that is so important because, like you said, after the George Floyd, that oversight is important, not only for them doing the oversight for themselves, but also the civilian panel doing the oversight, because you have where
maybe the hardworking man has to go to work the next day. And a lot of times they don't have the leverage to come and show up. It doesn't mean they have to. I think it gives them leverage because we can actually hear them. We've now looked at the body camera. We've read the reviews. We've listened to the audio. And now the actual person is there. It leverage, right?
But no,
It
that
doesn't mean they're right or wrong because we are just looking at it through neutral lens because that's what they
mhm.
want us to do.
That's what I was thinking about. As you said, body cam, I remember my train of thought because, as we do sometimes as civilians, we see something through the eyes of a 20-second social media video and we don't see the entire picture on both ends, on the police end and on the civilian end.
Yes.
It pops up on
Yes.
social media and everybody's watching like, oh, no, did you see this? And the whole story isn't told from that 20-second, 30-second video
Yes.
on
So
social media.
yes, my brother. So the body camera is important because I'll tell you a little bit since we're discussing police civilian review oversight
Uh-huh.
is that the police that's interviewing the actual complainant at the time of the incident, you get to
Mhm.
see that. You get sometimes to see them driving up for a traffic stop. I just
Yeah.
came back from a 4-day national annual training for it's called NACOL and it's police oversight training for 4 days. And this is my
Mhm.
second time going to it. And this year it happened to be hosted in Minneapolis. Now, what happened in
Okay.
Minneapolis? George Floyd died.
George Floyd, yeah.
That's where it
Mhm.
all happened. And so we were able to go there. And after the 4-day training sessions, all day sessions of training, and they had jail oversights as well. And this time, for the first time, they also had a session called ICE oversight, but we didn't really get any answers. I just want you to know that I had the opportunity to visit the site where George Floyd, and I'll send you some pictures. I'll
Wow.
send you
Okay.
my video from there.
Yeah, if you can, please. I would love
I
to
will
I
do
would
it
love to
right
see that.
after we finish
Okay.
up here.
Okay.
I was able to go at a time of the day when God put me there. It was after 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and I didn't expect anyone to be there because all the tours had already come and gone. Everybody was flying out on that 4th day, and I was staying over. So I went the last minute, last man out. And then when I got there, I couldn't see anyone. And it's called George Floyd Square now. And there's like
Mhm.
a hand like this, like a
Uh-huh.
statue on each block. And then in the
Wow.
center of the block is the grocery store that he was at. It's still
Mhm.
there. And then now it's a shrine in front of that grocery store where
Wow.
people from all over the world has landed there and left flowers and wreaths and messages. And so many people have died, but it took that video, that
That incident.
live
Yep.
video, watching him ask for air, watching people pass by and said, "Give him air. He can't breathe."
Mhm.
And they kept putting their knee to his neck, and we watched it live. How they squeezed the air out of his body, and his final words were, "Mama." We all watched it. He couldn't. He pushed his chest up, and they said there was graze marks on his chest where he was pushing his chest so that he can get air in. He was trying to push any way to get air. And then finally he called for his mother, and that was the end. We
Wow.
watched it.
Yes, we did.
To actually go and see where it happened was chilling. And as I was standing there by myself, and there was a little wreath and a little like a little area where he was lying, it's marked off. And that is a makeshift headstone. And I'll send you the photos. It's wreaths all around that whole block now. You
Yeah.
can barely get through there. It's just like one lane because the other half of the road is taken up by a shrine for George Floyd. As I was standing there, one of the community leaders was leaving, and she turned around, and I said hello to her as she was walking away, and she said hello, and I go, "Hey, I'm here from Virginia," and she said, "Oh," and then she turned around, and she had a walking stick. She's a younger lady, probably hurt herself, but she had a walking stick, and she came over, and I'll send you that video. I asked her an interview. We ended up talking, and she's a community leader in that community on that block. And so they come out every once in a while because they get visitors all the time and they talk to people. I was able to interview her, and I'll send that to you as well. Where one of the questions I asked her, like you're asking me tonight, I said, "Did you ever do any studies since you're a community leader as to why the police was using the knee on the neck?" And she said, "Oh, let me tell you about this. I had a trip to Palestine." And she said, "Palestine. I went to Palestine," she said. In the last a couple of years, she got invited to Palestine. She went to
Mhm.
Palestine. She visited both, I don't know where, she was in Jerusalem. And she said the Israeli soldiers learned that she was from Minneapolis and said, "Oh, George Floyd." And she goes, "Yes, I'm here from Minneapolis." And they said, "Did you know the police there were trained by us? Did you know that?"
I didn't know that.
Well,
No,
the
I didn't know that.
ADL,
Yeah.
I might get in trouble for this now. The ADL, who has all their offices next to the FBI, is heavily involved in sending our police officers to Israel for training.
Wow. Wow.
Just a FYI. Well, I'm a
I
grandma
thought more
now,
so.
so
I didn't think more so.
if I disappear, I didn't disappear myself,
No,
okay?
you're not going nowhere. We got you. I thought more so NYPD than it was Minneapolis, but hey, you never know.
No, it's just do some digging. You can even go to a lot of people don't like her. What's her name with the podcast? Candace.
Candace Owens, yeah.
Some people like her, some people don't. She did some homework on the ADL.
Okay.
Pretty good work on it because she
Yeah.
does her investigations, and people don't like her background, but I just look at what is she investigating these days, and so she did rip apart the ADL on where you can find every FBI office in America. That's
Mm-hmm.
where the ADL office is, so they can have
Mm-hmm.
access to info from the FBI. And that's why. Why does the ADL get access to our FBI files? And why are they in such a position that they can influence the training of our police chiefs? Anyway, I wasn't able to ask that question from the Minneapolis police chief. He had to leave early. He was on a panel in one of the panel discussions at the national conference. He had a line, but he had to leave. He got called away. So we weren't
Yeah.
able to put some fire to his feet. And so he left. So we weren't able to ask some real peel the onion questions to him.
Yeah.
And so one of the takeaways I want to leave you with, my brother, for police
Yes.
review panel is
Yes.
when they say, what is it they say? So now we have police oversight and we are changing. There's a word that they use. We are changing the way, how we used to do things. What is that
Well,
called?
changing the way we police or changing the
Yeah, or
way.
changing the training. Now we have
Yeah.
more information. We don't
Yeah.
use the knee anymore. What's all of that called? We are,
What
anyway,
is
my
it?
point
Protocol
to you,
or I don't
my
know.
point to you is making change. Making change is not just showing up at community events.
No.
You create police outreach, and I could say this as clear as day. And you could sign off that our police was involved in police have a cup of coffee with police. They have all these outreach programs now where they're trying to reach community, but I don't know where all of that is after October 7th because now we have these 380 cameras everywhere. After George Floyd, they did heavily create spaces where you can have police outreach, but how do you measure? Do you put in a report? Look, we're doing police outreach. We did 12 visits in 12 community centers this year. We met with this community leader. We went to this church. What tells you that there's change?
I mean, you can only, your actions is going to show your change. So if some of the same things are happening, maybe social media around or not, maybe somebody got a camera or not. We as believers and Muslims, we know the Almighty. When we say this plenty of times, Allah SWT is always watching. The Almighty's always watching. Maybe somebody sees you, maybe somebody doesn't. But you have to hold, policing is a necessity in our communities. We need some type of policing within the communities. It's a necessity. But I think the bigger oversight or the bigger thing is not just, like you say, coffee and tea with a cop. It's actually police officers going out there and carrying the duty that they say they are out here to uphold and doing that
That's it.
with sincerity, regardless if somebody's watching you on a camera or not.
Yes. It's giving dignity. Okay, so you said it. You said it. What's the purpose of policing? You said necessity. Why is it necessary? For our safety. Policing is created for our safety. They should keep us safe. We should feel safe.
That's right.
We shouldn't be afraid of them.
No.
We should feel safe. Right now, what's
That's
happening with ICE? Oh my goodness. We could go on for another podcast on that.
And I'm here right now. I mean, I'm in Charlotte, so
Oh,
I
that's
mean,
right.
I've seen what happened just
So
recently
you
in
could,
Charlotte.
yeah,
So
you could speak to that. And,
yeah.
I'm going to visit my daughter in Chicago over Thanksgiving. And I just don't know what's happening in Chicago either. And even in
Mm-hmm.
Washington, D.C.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know, brother. I couldn't see you just now. I hope we're doing okay. I
Yeah.
just want to say true reform will be what you just said, will show up in the
Mm-hmm.
number of deaths, in the lessened number of deaths, in the way we trust police, in the way we talk
Yeah.
to police. And you'll see
Yeah.
more police interacting and civically engage with their community in
Mm-hmm.
a way that we feel safe to call them. And
That's
when we
right.
see them, we know that they are there to make us safe and not
That's
to be
right.
afraid of them, right?
That's
And I
right.
think
That's right.
that's true reform.
Yeah, that's true reform. Hopefully, I mean, continue to work that you're doing. I mean, with the panel and go to the training and understand. And when you come across people, educate people. And when you come across those people that come in there that doesn't have a serious infraction or a serious complaint, even educate them and say, listen, man, it takes both ways. Not only does the police need to police correctly within the communities, but people have to have the mindset of, uh, I'm not going to break any laws out here. Or I'm not going to be a lawbreaker or a habitual lawbreaker or just carry and conduct myself any old kind of way. I mean, I mean, one hand wash the other over here. It can't just be the police is all wrong. But we all have had a share of. I got a couple of stories running with police, and I was all legal, but I never showed any fear or anything like that. Always conducted myself properly, respectfully, and it seemed like there might be the tension of a problem, but I was always able to de-escalate it before it got escalated. So
In my time, just really quickly, because you said that, in my time, as you were saying that you complied and everything worked out. In my time working with kids in the detention center in Washington, D.C., here in Washington,
Mhm.
85, I'm guessing out of the 5 years I worked in the detention centers, I would say 85% of the boys that were detained, if I were to ask them, why don't you stop when the police is on your back? They're like, we're going to run for our lives and try to get away from them, because if they pull us over, there's a 90% chance we're going to jail. And that was, I started that program back in 2015,
Mhm.
COVID to 2022. I didn't go back. When was George Floyd? Around that same time. So
Yeah.
it was before George Floyd. I would love to go back and hear their take on it. Now you really know, if there's reform. But I mean, our president just put military in Washington, D.C. and said they cleaned up Washington, D.C. So we'll see.
Mhm. Yeah.
I think
Yep.
oversight is necessary, but I
Yes,
think
it
that
is.
we definitely need the police to keep us safe.
Mm-hmm.
If there's true civic engagement, then it will show up.
Yes, it will.
It will show up in the numbers.
Yes,
And
it will.
when we go to jail, we're not going to keep seeing just Black and brown community in the revolving door.
That's right.
And that's where I think true reform will happen. Right now, what's happening with ICE kind of blurred the two, so it's like,
It
are
was a
they
total.
asking,
It was a total mess here in Charlotte just the last couple of days. A total mess. I had a huge protest. I think last night, night before last in Charlotte, where it was there was a lot of chaos down there.
are you guys okay?
I'm in the outskirts, so I
Okay.
don't see. We're in the rural area. We don't see much, but you turn on the news. I did end up going down because I went down to one of the masjids down there that had a program. Kalisa went to one of the programs for the sisters, and we went down there, and it was it was.
Yeah, my daughter works in Chicago. So I remember when military was sent to Chicago. She works in Chicago, but she lives on the outskirts. So it's a 40-minute drive in to where she also,
Mm,
like her mother, she's a doctor, but she works for the inner city and she delivers
mhm.
health care to the poor. And I said,
Yep.
please be careful. Just please be
Yes.
careful if you wear a headscarf.
Mm,
And they don't care if you're a doctor. they'll pull you over. They've killed doctors they've killed Black doctors. So, but we are hoping again. I think we need police, and I'm here to give equity to both sides.
That's good.
And that's all we can do, right? That's the adl.
That's it. Yes.
That Allah give us balance. And when you are a believer, to be the best believer in that door that's opened for you. One of the things I learned from being laid off after federal funding cuts was you don't have to keep knocking on closed doors and being frustrated and full of anxiety and, breathe. Like I said about law school, renew your intentions and hear yourself, talk to God and say, okay, here's where you have me now. Which door is open for me now? Because I can keep filling out applications at this stage of the game, or I can just go where it's open for me. Like you called me to do this interview. The Turkish mosque called me to do a project for them. And those are the doors that are opening. And maybe that's what God wants me to do.
There you go.
To be my own boss. I don't know. He's my boss, but that's maybe what he's directing me, giving me some autonomy at this part of my life.
Inshallah.
So
Inshallah.
I'm very grateful for your time and for listening to me. And I'm so glad we had an opportunity to revisit.
Yes.
And I hope that anything we discuss is beneficial to our community. And may Allah be pleased with us.
Ameen.
And to keep using us and don't replace us, but to elevate us in the deen and grant us good health.
Ameen.
And I'm looking forward to Ramadan. Oh my God.
I think it's when is Ramadan now?
February.
Yeah. Inshallah. That's very soon. That's right around the corner.
It's like 88
It's right around
days,
the corner,
bro.
Yes.
Days. Yeah.
So I appreciate you coming on, and again, I appreciate your time. And may the work that you do, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide you, like you say, and this may be the next path in your life that you're knocking at a different door. Don't continue to knock at closed doors, but there may be another door opening for you somewhere down the road that you don't yet see, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows.
And the thing, it's just human nature. I think that we might apply for a job and we don't get it and we're like disappointed, but really Allah is redirecting us. Because if you're a believer, you have to understand, if you're a praying believer, that you're being guided.
Yes.
And that's a test every day. I have to stand in that zone where now I'm not getting that steady stream of income. So I'm like, okay, I'm okay.
Inshallah. But it was beautiful talking to you, and
you too, my brother. I'm so glad we worked out the time, and you were flexible. May Allah reward you for being flexible, and all your journeys with you and your wife. May Allah bring it to fruition to where it's like barakat, and we are all benefiting from it. Inshallah.
Inshallah.
And good luck to your kids, and whether it's law school or whatever it is, just tell her to renew her intention and figure out if it's is it your daughter?
Yes.
Yeah. And she can always call me. You have my number.
Yes.
She can call me for a chit chat and we can talk about renewing our intentions or where we want to go after law school.
Okay. All right.
I talked to both. I have a mentee of mine that's at Harvard right now. And I told her it's not about Harvard. It's about what you get out of it and where you're going from it. So, inshallah, I wish all your kids the best and my kids the best. And may Allah protect them and guide them and never leave us without His blessed guidance.
Ameen.
Take care and have a wonderful evening. And I hope
too,
this is not the last that we get to see each other again.
Inshallah. No. We'll be coming to Virginia probably here and there. So,
Inshallah.
Yeah. We'll let you know. We'll give you a heads up when we come back again.
All right. I'll send you the videos.
The other videos. Yes.
All right. I'll do it now. All right. Masalama.
Masalam.
Thank you for taking on my number. Absolutely.
All right. So I'm here with Janelle, neighborhood executive director, community member, and I'm here at George Floyd's memorial where he was murdered. And Janelle is giving me some history, and we started talking about where did Officer Chauvin understand that he could put his knee? Where did that training come from. And I asked that at the question today at NACOL, and to know, where do you think that training,
So this
police
summer,
training?
I spent 2 weeks in Palestine, in the West Bank, and when I told people that I was from Minneapolis, Minnesota, and from George Floyd Square, they looked at me and they said, Minneapolis, and I said, yes. They said, you know, our Israeli military trained your police department.